What we also know now, thanks to Moazan, is that 650, Christmas 650 does exist.
Afia Siddiqui is a Pakistani national with a PhD from an American university. The US government accuses her of belonging to Al-Qaeda and says she attempted to kill members of the military in Afghanistan while being held unsecured inside a police station. They say she was behind a curtain when a group of US personnel walked in. One of the men left his gun on the ground, and Miss Siddiqui is accused of quietly dragging it behind the curtain before opening fire. She missed, but was shot and injured in response.
They put a gun down by their foot, and they don't realize when the gun is not there? Do you believe that? Do you believe that?
When Siddiqui was arrested by Afghan police, she was supposedly found to have documents on bomb making, pictures of landmark US buildings, including some in New York, and files containing liquid and gel substances.
The Americans wanted us to believe that this tiny, fragile doctor who'd been kidnapped 5 years earlier, who'd just gone completely off radar, had suddenly appeared with her 12-year-old son in a dazed and confused state outside the governor's office of Garda's in Afghanistan. In her handbag she had several pieces of bomb-making equipment. She also had pictures of the Empire State Building and therefore was obviously a dangerous terrorist on a mission. She was arrested and 6 armed Americans arrived to take her away. They walked into the room where one of them apparently was overpowered by this tiny, dazed and confused doctor, and she managed to fire a couple of rounds off his gun before it was seized back. She was then shot at close range, having been disarmed. She was shot at close range and sustained injuries which has cost her a kidney and part of her intestines. She was then taken to Bagram and stitched up by some butcher who calls himself a doctor, and was presented to the courts in New York as not charged with any terrorism offences, but charged with attempting to kill an American serviceman. As the case with Afia Siddiqui began to unfold, the good news, the only good news out of this shocking story is that her son has now been reunited with his family. We don't know what's happened to the babe in arms that she was carrying the day that she was kidnapped in Karachi. We don't know what's happened to the toddler either. 2 of her children have just gone completely off radar.
In Pakistan, Miss Siddiqui's family are outraged at her extradition. They claim she's been secretly detained by US authorities for years at Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, where they allege she was raped and tortured.
The government has strongly condemned the US over treatment of Pakistani national Afia Siddiqui. The Pakistani neuroscientist charged with firing on US officials who is presently in US custody. The latest pictures of Dr. Afia Siddiqui show a visibly tortured woman whom a US judge has declared unfit for trial due to medical or mental incompetence, and the case has been deferred till December 17. The Pakistani Foreign Office spokesperson has told Times Now that the government of Pakistan is demanding the immediate return of Afia Siddiqui to Pakistan in light of the latest developments of her deteriorating mental condition.
Now, if there's one thing that I've found out about the Muslim community in the years since I've converted to Islam, is that secrets cannot be kept. So I want each and every one of you to contact your families back in Pakistan. We must track down prisoner 650 and any other female who has been held in custody. I was going to say American custody there, but I don't at the moment think that Afia Siddiqui has been held in American custody, but she probably has been held at the request of the Americans. There is a theory, and eventually the truth will come out, there is a theory that she was kidnapped by the Pakistan authorities and sold like a slave, like a piece of meat, like the brothers in Guantanamo, to the Americans. Where she has been held for the last 5 years, I have no idea, but I think that we can all guess that she certainly hasn't been plotting to blow up the Empire State Building, and that is not the reason for her rolling up to the governor's office in Gardez with bomb-making equipment in her purse.
Human rights groups in Pakistan say the Siddiqui case is just the tip of the iceberg.
It is not only the case of Afia Siddiqui, it is the case of more than 500 missing persons.
So there are still lots of questions that remain unanswered. We can't rely on the authorities to tell us the truth. Each and every one of us has to turn detective. Each and every one of us has to go and contact our families and ask our families to contact their families. And eventually we will start to be able to build a picture.
Now, this is a lady who is a MIT graduate of 1995. She's in her late 30s and she's nowhere close to being mentally unfit. So this is a clear case of torture by the Americans, sustained and inhuman torture which have reduced Afia Siddiqui to this kind of a wreck, isn't it?
Well, people here are also outraged, as you were saying, that in India people have very strong feelings about the case, and it is not just about a Pakistani woman being treated shabbily and illegally. Her detention has been illegal, because even if you go by the American laws, it is not permitted the way she has been kept and the way her children were treated. So she should be immediately returned to Pakistan, and there is a complete consensus, right, left and center.
Whenever 650 needed to use the bathroom, there was no privacy, there was no door shut. She had to use the same open toilet as the men in front of the guards. Whenever she wanted to use the shower or got to use the shower, there was no curtain, there was no privacy. She used the same shower as the men in front of the guards.
देखिए, मेरे पास जो है ना, I strongly believe in Afia's innocence. और दूसरी चीज ये है कि सिर्फ ये नहीं कि वो बिल्कुल मासूम है. आप देखें, खुदा ताला ने इतने सब के बाद उसको जिंदा रखा, उसके गोलियां लगी. कौन था उसके साथ? मैं थी, उसकी माँ थी. कौन था उसके साथ? अल्लाह ही तो था ना. और वो सबके बाद बची, वो आज जिंदा है. अभी भी वो बातचीत कर रही है, पहचान रही है. ये खुदा की शान नहीं है तो क्या है? अल्लाह ताला ने उसको जिंदा रखा है. There is a purpose. She has a destiny. I don't know what it is and how it will be fulfilled. लेकिन there is a purpose. ये तो मुझे अब मेरा ईमान हो गया है कि उसके से कोई बहुत बड़ा हो. शायद ये कि उसकी आजमाइश खत्म हो गई. जब तक वो ढकी हुई थी, नहीं थी नजरों में, उसकी आजमाइश थी. अब तो उसके साथ जो जुल्म और ज्यादती हो रही है, वो तो सबके सामने है. अब तो हमारी आजमाइश शुरू हो गई है. शायद यही है कि हमें जगाना है, हमें यूनाइट करना है. शायद यही उसकी डेस्टिनी है.
يا منجي إبراهيم من حرصاني تنجي السجينة من سجون المغلين. يا ناس هذه قصتي وما جرالي.